Welcome to Eternal Philosophies. Today, on Eternal Philosophies, we dive into the life of one of history's most fascinating figures, Joan of Arc, a young peasant girl who, guided by her unshakable faith, defied armies, kings, and even death. Who was this woman who changed the course of France and became an eternal symbol of courage and determination? Let's find out. Who was Joan of Arc? Joan of Arc was born around 1412 in Domremy, a small village in northeastern France. The daughter of devout peasants, she showed deep religiosity from an early age. At the age of 13, she began hearing voices that she believed were from Saint Michael the Archangel, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. These voices gave her a divine mission: to free France from English domination during the 100 Years' War and help the Dauphin Charles VII reclaim his throne. Key phases in Joan of Arc's life. The divine mission. At 16 years old, Joan convinced local leaders and eventually Charles VII himself that she was sent by God to save France. Her conviction impressed the king and his advisors. The victory at Orléans. In 1429, leading French troops, Joan helped break the English siege at Orléans. This victory was a turning point in the 100 Years' War and solidified her role as a military leader. The coronation at Reims. After the victory at Orléans, Joan accompanied Charles VII to Reims, where he was crowned King of France. She stood by his side throughout the ceremony, symbolizing the fulfillment of her divine mission. Capture and trial. In 1430, Joan was captured by the Burgundians and sold to the English. Accused of heresy and witchcraft, she faced a trial riddled with irregularities and was condemned to death by burning in 1431 at just 19 years old. Canonization. Centuries later, in 1920, Joan was canonized by the Catholic Church and is now considered a patron saint of France. 5 curiosities about Joan of Arc. 1. Despite being a respected military leader, Joan never directly fought in battles. She served more as a strategist and moral inspiration for her troops. 2nd, her trial included accusations such as wearing men's clothing, a measure she took to protect herself while imprisoned. 3. Even after her tragic death, her figure continued to inspire nationalist movements in France. 4. It is said that her heart remained intact after being burned at the stake. 5. Her feast day is celebrated on May 30th as a national holiday in France. 7 inspirational quotes from Joan of Arc. 1. I am not afraid. I was born to do this. This statement reflects Joan's deep conviction in her divine mission and her complete trust in God's protection. It encapsulates her courage and sense of purpose, which were pivotal in her role as a leader during the 100 Years' War. 2. I do not fear men-at-arms. My way has been made plain before me. If there be men-at-arms, my Lord God will make a way for me to go to my Lord Dauphin. Joan said this before embarking on her mission to meet Charles VII, the Dauphin. She believed that God had cleared her path and would protect her from harm, even if soldiers tried to stop her. This quote underscores Joan's faith-driven confidence and her belief that divine intervention would ensure the success of her mission. It also highlights her role as a spiritual leader who inspired others through her reliance on God. 3. I would rather die than revoke what God has made me do. This quote illustrates Joan's steadfastness and integrity. It shows her willingness to endure suffering and martyrdom rather than compromise her faith or divine calling. 4th, alas, that my body, clean and whole, never been corrupted, today must be consumed and burnt to ashes. These words were spoken by Joan on the day of her execution in 1431. She lamented the destruction of her body, which she saw as pure and untainted, as she faced being burned at the stake. This quote reflects Joan's human vulnerability and sorrow at the physical suffering she was about to endure. However, it also demonstrates her spiritual purity and acceptance of martyrdom as part of God's plan. 5. If I am not in God's grace, may God place me there. If I am, may He so keep me. This quote reveals Joan's humility and trust in God's judgment. It also highlights her theological understanding that grace is a gift from God rather than something one can claim for oneself. 6. Hold the cross high so I may see it through the flames. This poignant statement reflects Joan's unwavering faith even in the face of death. It symbolizes her deep connection to Christ and reliance on Him for strength. 7. In God's name, let us go on bravely. This quote showcases Joan's leadership and ability to motivate others through faith. It also emphasizes how central God was to every aspect of her life and mission. Joan of Arc is more than a historical figure. She is an eternal symbol of faith, courage, and determination in the face of extreme adversity. Her story reminds us of the transformative power of conviction and inner strength. What do you think about this extraordinary woman's legacy? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to like this video. See you next time on Eternal Philosophies.